Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fly Free Bird podcast. I'm very excited to have my very good friend Stacey on. Welcome, Stacey.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm excited.
I know. So Stacey and I met through yoga, and she was one of my teachers for yoga teacher training in 2018. Isn't that wild?
That's so long ago.
It's so long ago, but it doesn't even seem that long ago.
No, it doesn't.
It's crazy. You know, you want to know a fun fact? Before I actually got to know you, I was kind of intimidated by you. I thought you were like really going to be tough or like a badass kind of girl, which, I mean, you still are. But I was like, oh my God, she's going to be tough. And then you're like the sweetest thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I'm a part of this group.
Yay.
So
that was fun.
That was really fun.
That just flashed me back to
Isn't
the yoga
that wild?
teacher training.
5 years. Yeah, 2018. Is that 5 years?
7.
Oh my God, I can't even do the math, see?
7 years.
7 years ago. Life-changing yoga teacher training.
It is.
Right. Well, it is.
It is life-changing.
Yeah, exactly.
I could ask you how it changed your life.
Oh.
But this is about, I don't know if you...
Well,
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you a question.
Well, that was probably my first step of breaking free.
Okay.
And so I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot, and I met amazing people, and now I'm part of this beautiful, like, yoga community.
Yeah.
You know?
We had a great community.
We really did.
It was really fun back in the day.
That was, like, a really great group.
It was really fun.
We were very lucky with you guys.
Like, I've told people, I see people still now, you know, here and there, and actually... The new place I'm teaching right now, some, you know, former students have come back in from Core Power. And it's like, and we'll always have that connection. So, but I've never really experienced such a special, like, group of people and, like, community that we had during that time.
Because you've done a few of them, right?
It was, and, like, I'm now trying to cultivate that same community where I'm at now. Everywhere I go, I try to cultivate, you know, community because we need each other so much. But that was really, like, kind of an anomaly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad I did it. And, I guess that was my first step of breaking free and knowing I needed to make a change, you know?
Yeah, because you start to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
Through teacher training. Teacher training, I got divorced, so it
also... that's when it happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it changes most people's lives.
Right. I remember I got sold on it when you're like, your life will change. It will. Like, wait a second. Sign me up. Yes. That's what I'm
ready.
looking for.
And it will. Like, it's so true.
Yeah.
Your life will change.
Right.
Whether you teach the yoga or you don't teach the yoga, that is beside the point.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to take teacher training. I actually fought it for a really long time. Yeah. And she was telling me, you know, trying to sell me on it. And I'm like, I don't want to teach yoga.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a personal trainer. I'm not a yoga teacher.
Okay,
like,
so that's
I'm
where
not
you
interested.
started.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then I said, okay, fine. I will take it for the information, like for the knowledge. Like, I just want to know what this yoga stuff is because I go into class and I leave and I feel better and I don't know why.
Right.
But I feel better.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to know why I'm feeling better. Like, what's happening in these classes?
Yeah.
Like, what fairy dust is getting sprinkled around? So that's why I did it. And then, you know, I've been teaching for 16 years now. And it is absolutely, like, my most favorite thing to do is teach yoga.
Wow.
Is to teach, period. But,
yeah. And you went into it, like, with resistance.
It's so much resistance. But isn't that life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the things that bring us the greatest value, we have the most resistance to.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm working through that right now.
I think we're always working through
it. I think we're always working through, and I think we've done a lot of the work, but like we talked about earlier, we're always working through things.
Always.
It's never just going to be perfect.
Because what's perfect?
No, I don't think there's...
Is there something?
Is there?
I think
what
nature's perfect, and that's about it.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nature's imperfectly perfect, right?
Right.
So I always say, like, your perfection is imperfection.
Your imperfection is imperfection.
Yeah.
Or
your imperfection is perfection. Yeah, let's turn it around. Your imperfection is perfection.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think there's anything...
And kind of the messier it is, the better it is.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out to be so beautiful, even though it's, like... a messy process sometimes.
Yeah, it's like embracing our flaws, right? In a way.
Yeah.
but utilizing them, I think, to maybe help others as well, like heal and get to a place where they need to be. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole perfection thing is crazy. I'm like, what is perfect? Give me the definition.
Yeah. And
how do you describe perfect? You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't know, because that's the thing. We all hold ourselves to this like level, I think.
And what is it? Like what means perfect to you might not be perfect to me.
Right.
Like if we're talking about the podcast.
Right.
And like,
yeah.
You know, the process of it and people wanting perfection out of it, but what is the perfect podcast? What does that even look like? And the perfect podcast to you can look one way, and the perfect podcast to me can look totally different. So it's very subjective, too, if you think about it. So I just try to take the perfect thing out of everything and not let it hold me back.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of things I haven't done in my life because I'm like, oh, well, it's not going to be perfect, so I don't want to do it.
Right.
Well, first of all, it's never going to be perfect, so just do it.
Right.
Just let it be messy. Just let it be a process, because everything is a process, and in that is the perfection. It's just the process.
It's the process, and I think it's having the courage to just go for it. Because, like, partly why I never taught yoga, I went into it not thinking I was going to teach, but then I got a lot of positive feedback, like, you should teach, and I'm like, well, I got to get the perfect playlist, or I don't feel like I'm ready, and, you know, and in retrospect, it's just like, I should have just jumped in. Yeah. And I guess I could still.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Oh, yeah, maybe one day, you know.
You could do it.
I could, yeah.
You can teach online.
Yeah. Yeah, just
you don't even have to teach real
right?
people. I mean, you'll teach real people, but you don't have to be in a classroom setting.
Or at least start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's the whole thing of, like, breaking free, of, like, just starting and knowing that you're ready for a change in whatever you're breaking free from, and, like, taking the steps to get there. So that's partly why I wanted you on, because first of all, like, I admire your strength and your authenticity and just your realness. And I love, like, your spiritual side too, and just your softness. And I know you have gone through a lot in life, and, just a tad, and it's crazy because we haven't seen each other, I feel like, since COVID, really? Like, yoga on the beach.
Yep, I would say COVID was the last time I, you know.
Yeah. But I've always felt like this kind of special bond between us, and I'm just so happy you're here, because I admire your strength, and I admire everything you've done, and how you broke free, and you're creating a life that fits for you, and you're helping other people along the way, which I think is so beautiful. So with that said, I guess I just kind of want to hear a little, like, just touch on some of the things that you broke free from, and then let's get into, like, how, and, like, how your words can inspire other people to do the same.
Yay.
So tell me, where did it start? Where was your first cage, I guess, you felt like you were stuck in?
Yeah.
And we don't have to get too deep.
Okay.
You can touch there, and then you can go to the next if you want.
Cool.
Or we can just get straight into the how.
Yeah.
But,
oh, well, yeah, I'll let you know. It's a good time. It probably started, you know, I mean, obviously our journeys start in the womb, right? So I've done a lot of work going back into childhood stuff that won't necessarily apply so much here. But all of that knowingness and researching and, like, taking myself into deep, like, we call them deep imaginings or hypnosis, basically, like meditations. I did unlock a lot of things from my childhood that have been pertinent and made sense in the things that happened in my adult life. Now, this happened later. Right? So I wish maybe I would have gone through some of that as a young adult. But that wasn't my life. So I didn't know. I didn't have the background of why I was choosing the men I was choosing, why, you know, the relationships, why I got pregnant at 17, what was I looking for, what was I after. So got pregnant at 17, had my daughter at 18.
That's big, yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Now is, you know, I think I'm 45. I might be 46. I'm not sure. I have to do the math. You lose track after 40.
That's true.
But, like, I look back and I'm like, 18 years old. Like, I was a baby. I was a child. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea what I was about to go through. I did know that I wanted my daughter more than anything. I always wanted to be a mom. So there was no, like, wavering on that. I grew up in a very Catholic family, so there was talk of adoption and things like that. Yeah. However, that just wasn't an option for me. Right. I was like, no, I'm
they didn't
her.
want to send you to camp.
They did. They did. Oh, for sure. They for sure wanted to send me away. Yeah, it was, But
you didn't, crazy. Right?
No, because I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Wow. But yeah, so have the baby, anyways, all that. My first marriage, I think, and I didn't consciously choose the partner. I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't have the healing and the information to even know what this conscious choice was. I thought, I'm damaged goods. I already have a baby out of wedlock, and I should probably get married to the first man who wants to marry me, because what if nobody else wants me? So that was kind of the thinking.
How old were you then?
Let's see, I had her at 18... 19, 20, 21. I was probably 22.
Which is still, baby.
Girl.
Baby.
Crazy. You don't know anything. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want. You don't know, you know nothing. But the way I was raised was you get married and then you have a child.
Right.
Or you don't have a child without being married. That just wasn't what you do.
Right.
So I just thought, this is what I better do.
Yeah.
And this man wants to marry me. Of course, he was a narcissistic sociopath love bombing me, so that's wonderful. But I didn't know what a narcissist was. I didn't know what love bombing was. I was like, oh, this man wants to take care of me and my child, and I better do this, because, it might not ever come along again in my life.
22, thinking your life's over.
Crazy. So all in the life's plan, though, and things that you have to learn. So I don't regret anything at all, and I'm glad, everything happened as it was. So had 2 other kids with him. I think around my Saturn return, 28 to 30, when I took teacher training, same timing, I started to realize this is not the life that I want to live for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
He was very emotionally abusive to me. I didn't know that was abuse, because in my head, abuse was getting physically beat up or physically being injured by this person, where it wasn't so much physical. It was very emotional. So it was tearing me down. It was like death by 1,000 paper cuts kind of relationship, right? Little digs all the time, to the point where I started to believe that I wasn't worthy, that I was stupid, that I was a bitch, and I was this, and all these names that he used to call me. That's what you start to believe, because when you're told this every day.
Oh, geez.
Right? And that goes in the positive, too. When you tell yourself positive things every day, you become that person. Well, when you're told negative things every day and you don't have the tools to know what's going on, and you don't have the support, and you don't have the friend, and we had a great community, but I didn't feel comfortable telling anyone that this was going on at home.
Wow.
Because I felt ashamed, there was lots of shame and guilt, and I wanted the perfect family. Yeah. So it looked really great from the outside.
Wow.
We went to church, we did all the things. Yeah, but then on the inside, it was very abusive and very dark.
How many years into it did this start, or was it from the beginning?
It was kind of from the get. I'd say he got more comfortable with being abusive probably a year in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I just noticed things I didn't know anything when I was in it. I'm going to be honest. I had no idea what was going on. I just thought, okay, this must be normal, what you do. And my parents were married, and they've been together since they were kids. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they had issues too, but you just stay and you work through it, and that's what you do. Right. You don't get divorced. You don't, it's just, you suck it up and you do it, right? So I did, and I never told my parents what was going on. I never really told anybody what was happening. I tried to protect my kids as much as possible. If he would start going on one of his rants or something, I would, make sure I moved the kids in another room or outside, or something, so they didn't hear it. Yeah. Thinking I was doing the right thing, right? And then you hear stay for the kids, and so I thought, well, maybe I have to do that. So, long story short.
Oh, gosh, I know.
The first break-free moment was realizing in that marriage that this is not... I remember at 30, and I remember I was at the gym, and I was like, my life could be half over, which is crazy to think at 30, but I'm like, I could die at 60, which is not going to happen. But I'm like, my life could be halfway through. Like, I could be nearing my halfway point. So I am definitely not going to repeat this for the next 30 years. Yeah. Like, this can't, and I remember asking myself, like, this can't be it.
Wow. You knew.
This can't be it.
Yeah.
This feels terrible. This can't be it.
Right.
Right? So that was rough. He obviously fought, the separation. And then it just went from bad to worse from there. I call it the 10-year divorce.
Oh, man.
150 court motions he filed.
150?
And I know that number to be exact because, like, at the end of the folder of all the filings, it says the number at the bottom. And I was like, oh, my God. So that's all the times I had to go to court, all the times I had to take off work, all the times that I had to deal with child support and custody and all the different things that he, decided. Wow. The financial abuse, that it was wild. Wow.
Wild. And you were like 30 when this started?
So it started, I got married at 22, so 21, 22. We were together for almost 10 years. So at this point, 30, 31, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Like, I can't.
Wow.
I'm not going to go into, like, all the details of what got me there, but I was like, I can't.
No.
You gotta go. I can't. I can't live like this. And I also had, like, a lot of physical ailments going on. I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I was so tired all the time. I was just struggling to get through the day. Plus, I was a mom of 3 kids.
Oh, jeez. And your body's telling you.
And my body's like, off. Something's off, something's wrong.
Right.
I'd go to the doctor. They'd give me a bunch of pharmaceutical medicine, right? Mm-hmm. Sleeping pills.
Yeah.
I'm trying to raise 3 kids. I have a baby at the time. I just remember falling asleep in the rocking chair in the middle of the day because I'm just exhausted. They're giving me all this medicine to help with my body that's in pain all the time. Yeah. Like, my hands were hurting, my fingers, I couldn't move my wrists, like... Yeah. And now I look back and I know it's because of the emotional abuse in the relationship. Right. And my body was holding on to all the trauma. I didn't know how to process it. I didn't have a therapist. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I did have people to talk to. I chose not to talk to them.
Well, you probably felt a bit embarrassed or ashamed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How did I get myself in this situation? And then there was even part of me that was, like, trying to protect his reputation and protect who he was for some strange reason. Right. Also, it's my children's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want them to think their dad's a monster, even though he is. So then, I just kept it all inside. So my body then has to do something with it.
That's a lot.
So it cultivated in all these autoimmune diseases and disorders. Yeah. So then you get the medicine and then, there's that. So through the divorce, I remember I stopped taking a lot of it because I just couldn't function.
Right.
And I was like, I can't take this medicine. Yeah. I can't function. I remember trying to lose weight and, like, eat more healthy and take care of myself and start working out again because I loved fitness. I loved being active, but when you're a mom of 3, you don't always, like, have the capacity to do that. So I started at-home workouts again, started to feel a little bit better. The better I felt and the more I started to get my health in check, the more abusive he got. Mm-hmm. So that just needed, that's where the break needed to happen.
Right, where you're bettering yourself and then he's trying to make it worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with the divorce was I thought, okay, we'll get divorced and everything will be better. Mm-hmm. But it got worse.
Oh, jeez.
Because the abuse through the divorce was worse than the abuse was in the relationship. So that was from 30 to... probably like 38.
Oh my gosh.
Was court, custody, all trying to co-parent with someone who counter-parents.
Right.
Instead of co-parents.
Yeah.
Because I was like, look, everything could be cool.
Yeah.
I forgive you. Let's just be really good parents to our kids and figure this out peacefully. But
it didn't.
Narcissists don't have the capacity.
Wow.
So that was rough. So that was my first like attempt to break free.
Right.
I just didn't have the support, the resources, and the tools to heal.
Right.
So all these things from the marriage just continued in my body.
Wow.
Because I was surviving.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Single mom of 3 kids, trying to, teach as much as yoga as I can to, keep food on the table and be able to take care of them. So I had to find a job that I didn't need a babysitter because I didn't have the money to pay for childcare. Right. So, you're just surviving.
Yeah.
I was just trying to keep my head above water. So I wasn't healing. I wasn't addressing root causes of things.
Right.
I was just getting through each day to the best of my ability. So I'd say the next, I tried to break free.
You tried? Yeah. Well, I did. I got out. So there you go.
I got out. I just didn't know how to heal from it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a flounder, situation. And because I didn't heal from a lot of the things, I was attracting more unavailable men.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I wasn't fully available.
Right.
And there was a part of me that didn't feel like I was worthy to have the relationship. So I would pick men that were emotionally unavailable.
Right.
So that was
because that just happens right naturally. Like we're drawn to people in similar.
Yeah, they're mirrors. Relationships are mirrors.
Yeah, it's wild.
So we're gonna attract what we need to heal, or to show us what's coming up and what we need to look at. So not every relationship is meant to be. The relationship, it is meant to be because it's meant to show you your next level of growth.
At the time, it is. Yeah. It's meant to be.
Yeah. And if you're unconsciously manifesting partners, which I was, out of your wounding, you're going to get exactly what you need. Right. And you can either choose to look at it and say, oh, shit, that's, because 9 times out of 10, yes, the other person has responsibility, but most of the time you're the problem.
Yeah.
I'm the problem. Right. So I'd say towards 35, 36, I looked at the last 5 years of dating and I was like, oh shit, I'm the problem.
Wow.
Because I'm attracting the same man in a different body. So the common denominator here is me.
Right.
So I think that was the next moment of taking radical responsibility.
Because you just realized it after 5 or 6 years of dating that you're like, wait, this is the same man.
Same man. And in different ways. So I did heal a little bit in each relationship. So I like to look at it as okay, I'm getting better, right? But it was still unavailability, on that person's part, whether they were married, or just emotionally unavailable, or not faithful, because that always comes down to they're not worthy, they don't feel their own worth, their own respect for themselves and the partner, right? And they have their own stuff. So I needed to look at that and say, okay, well, if this person's mirroring me, what within me is the same?
Yeah.
What I'm attracting. And it was that unavailability. And it was because I was scared. Yeah. And I didn't really truly think I was deserving of the man that would fully show up for me. So I was willing to accept less.
Right. But that's kind of what you knew, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was part 2.
So, I guess what steps did you take there when you realized, wait a second, I'm, attracting this same man. How do I resolve this? Because I deserve better.
Yeah. So that was probably the relationship in my later 30s. I dated a man who, this is the beginning of the NFL, was an agent, came in strong on his white horse, galloping in the sunset towards me. I will save you.
I think that's what we all dream of.
Yay, you're gonna save me. Perfect. This is it. And I still believed that someone would come to save me at that point. Right. So I had done a little bit of work. I was, a little bit of work.
Yeah.
A little. Poquito.
Poquitos.
Yeah. I was teaching yoga. I was doing the things, but, and the yoga had helped, right? It helped me start to realize who I was, get connected with my soul, get connected with my vessel, my body, all of that. But it still was let's say layer 1.5, 2, right? So I'm coming out of it, but I still have a lot to learn. And I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm forever a student. So there's always going to be layers, but at that time I was like, okay, how I know I wasn't very healed was because he was like, I got you. I believe you. Because I could never really talk about my ex a lot to people. I was embarrassed because the things he did to me were so egregious and outrageous that I didn't want to tell people because they seemed not real.
Right.
Like, you'd be like, are you...
Did that really
happen?
Did that
really happen? Like, he really kidnapped my kids. Like, crazy stuff, right? Like, his mom tried to press charges against me for assault.
Wow.
They tried to take my sister to court. They tried to take my home, which is a family home. He tried to sue me for my house, which was my grandma's house, and it's in a trust. Like,
oh, gosh.
He had me followed. He had my tire slashed. So the things that, like, actually happened are nuts. So anyways, long story, I didn't want to tell people things because I was afraid they wouldn't believe me.
Right.
So this man comes along and says, I believe you. He's a narcissist. And I was like, oh my God, you know. You get it.
Right.
Crazy. And this man, you know, was powerful, had money. I thought he had life together. And I'm like, oh, and he's choosing me. This is crazy.
Right.
Like, he wants to help me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was willing to accept that help because I was on the struggle bus.
Right.
Like, I was working really hard to try to do whatever I could. So fast forward to 2018, I had been dating this man for a few years, and we were long distance.
Right.
He lived in another state, so I didn't really know who lived at his house.
I mean, unavailable, right?
Unavailable. Here goes the theme, right? I only had to contribute so much to the relationship because...
Geographically unavailable.
Geographically, he was only around or would fly me,
right.
you know, wherever. So I didn't have to fully participate, I guess, in that relationship.
Right.
Even though I thought at the time I was.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And then 2019 came along. That's the year that my ex took my boys out of state. Just pulled them out of school and left. The court system wasn't of any help.
Jeez.
That's a whole nother podcast for another day. Yeah, the court system and family court is horrific.
I hear you.
Horrific. So let's just leave that there.
Yeah.
But then I got let go from my yoga teaching job that I had been at for 10 years.
Wow.
Abruptly.
Wow.
Abruptly. So my kids had been taken. That was my whole life, was being a mom. I've been a mom since I was 18 years old.
Since you were a kid.
That's all I've ever known, is being a mom.
Yeah.
And taking care of.
Yeah.
Not to mention that, you know, I got from my mom, you have to sacrifice yourself in order to be loved. You have to be a martyr. You have to give up all of your hopes and dreams and everything for your children. So I was raised that was what you do in order to be valued.
Right.
Which is not correct.
Yeah.
However, that's what I knew. So at the time, my whole worth, my whole value, everything I did was in taking care and raising my kids. Mm-hmm. So now my kids have been removed. My daughter's in college. So I still am taking care of her-ish, but the boys had been taken. I had no contact with them. I didn't know their address. The courts didn't help me. So
that was
devastating. So this man was like, okay, I'm going to help you. Then my job, which was all I had left, because then I had my yoga students. And I taught 15 to 20 classes a week, which is crazy. But they were my people that I could pour into.
Absolutely.
And help and guide. Right. But then I got that taken away from me. So universe was like, I need to remove everything out of your life.
Yeah.
So that you can now turn the focus.
Wow. Wow. Ooh, I got the chills.
I had no one else to take care of anymore.
Oh my God.
There was nobody. The only person left standing in the room was me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
So that was like the biggest moment. And I just remember being in Vegas with the man I was dating. And at this time I knew that there were multiple women in the relationship. But I was still playing into this and being like, oh, it's okay. Let's just be honest about it. When really it was not what I wanted. No. I did not want a relationship with multiple women in it. I always wanted to be the only one. I've never been, and no offense to anybody who lives that life. That's great if that's for you.
Right.
It's not for me.
Right.
but I was willing to accept this bare minimum.
Right. There you go.
From this man.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in Vegas. At the time, I had been seeing a therapist and a psychiatrist because when my son got taken, I went through a really deep, dark depression. And then when I lost the job,
oh gosh,
I was like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Right. Why would you?
Why?
Yeah.
I have no purpose here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason except my daughter. And I was like, she'll be fine.
Right.
She'll be better off without me.
Oh.
Was kind of the thinking at the time.
Sad, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to cry. So that was rough. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to therapy.
But you knew yourself well enough to know that you were worth it, because if you sought therapy, then you realized you were.
Oh, yeah. There was a part of me that didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
But the human in me was like, this hurts too bad.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Wow. Yeah.
And now that I don't have the fight for my kids anymore because they're gone, like, what am I going to fight for? And I didn't think I was worth fighting for. I had to have something else to live for. It wasn't just to live for me. I wasn't enough.
Right.
And I've been told I'm not enough my whole life, or I'm too much.
Right. I can relate to both of those.
You're too much or you're not enough. I'm like, well, fuck.
Or that's what we're telling ourselves, or we've been told.
Right. And when we've been told, it's our choice to believe that. But if we don't have anything else to counter that story, it becomes our story.
Right.
And our identity.
Yeah.
And then we repeat that story.
Right.
And then we become that. Right?
Right.
So... yeah, it was rough. So they had me, and I loved my therapist. She was great. It was talk therapy. So I've realized, it was purposeful, but I needed more processing as far as therapy goes. And then the psychiatrist literally didn't really know me, called me in her office and said, so how numb do you want to be? That was the first question she asked me. And I looked at her and I'm like, huh. And I've always known I'm really intuitive, and I've always known I've had, like, gifts. Yeah. I wasn't sure of the gifts to the extent at the time. Mm-hmm. But I said, well, I still want to be able to feel somewhat, but my life feels really bad right now. Yeah. So I'd like to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Please.
Right.
I'd like to take the edge off.
Understandable.
So she put me on antidepressants and Adderall.
Okay.
So I was having a hard time focusing. And... was really sad all the time and could barely get through the day. So they started me on low doses of both, and then every time I would go in, they would up the dose. So I went from 5 milligrams of antidepressant to 100.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
And 5 is like normal, or 5 is
like low dose? 5 is a small dose, but it went to 100.
Yeah.
And then the Adderall, I had an immediate release and a sustained release. So they gave me 2 prescriptions.
Oh, wow.
So I take...
This is our lovely health system here in America.
Yeah, and this is important because... knowing where I am now, this is important to know that, like, I was desperate.
Absolutely.
I just wanted help.
100%.
I didn't want to drive my car off the freeway off
right.
that was way up in the sky, right? Yeah. Which was the thought.
Yeah.
Part of me, there was this part of me that when I would go into these really dark spirals, there was always this, like, light that would come down and a voice that would say, just look up. Because I call it Alice went down the rabbit hole. Because I would just spiral into this really dark place.
Yeah.
And I would just lay on the floor and be in fetal position and crying. And I would see myself in this dark, like, cylinder hole.
Yeah.
And there was a voice that was at the top of the hole, and it would say, just look here. Just put your hand up. Just reach up.
Oh, my gosh.
And it would send, like, a light, like, tube down. And say, just keep your eyes. Yeah. Just keep your eyes on me. And I would hear that, and I would see that, and I was like...
Keep your eyes on me.
Okay. There was... And I always call it the light at the top of the, the tunnel. And it was me. It was, my soul's voice, right? It was my... God essence, like telling me like, no, you're not done here.
Yeah.
You're not done here. And so I think that's what kept me going. That's beautiful. So when I kept going back to the doctor, she kept upping the dose, right? So I ended up on all this Adderall, lots of antidepressant. I should not have been on very high doses of both together.
Yeah.
Couple that with a night of partying in Vegas.
Right.
With alcohol, with weed, with Molly. I went into serotonin overdose.
Wow.
Because I also took more antidepressant to counteract the come down of the Molly, because I knew every time I did it, which the boyfriend at the time, I had never done it before, but he's like, let's do this. And I'm like, sure, let's try.
Right.
Anything you say, master. And it was that night, like, I mean, wow. I almost died.
What did that feel like? Or, like, what actually is that, a serotonin overdose?
When there's too much serotonin in the brain, right? So I just remember taking a shower, being like, I need to take a shower. And being in the shower and hearing, you're not meant to die. You're not meant to die. They're going to think you overdosed, but it was an accident. They're going to think it was an overdose, but it was an accident. And I was just in the shower, like, oh my gosh, in child's pose in the shower.
Like, literally
hearing this. And I was just like, I don't want to die. And I didn't want to die. I was like, I don't want to die.
Right.
In that moment. Like, I didn't. I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to go. I have things to do.
Yeah.
I have things to do. I don't want to go out like this. And it was weird because, like, Avicii, which was a DJ that I used to love, and they would say, it's like Avicii. It's like Avicii. He didn't mean to do it. It was just too much. It was an accident. That's what's happening right now. And
right.
So I was like, okay, I don't want to die. And so I got out of the shower. I went on the balcony, and I just remember leaning over the balcony, and my boyfriend at the time was like, dude, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, if I die, though, please don't. I go, please just don't bury my body in the desert. I said, please bring my body home to my family.
You said this?
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? Do you remember?
I don't remember what he said at all. But he did stay up the whole night with me to make sure, like, I didn't stop breathing.
So he didn't, like, take you to the hospital or anything?
And he should have. He shouldn't have been with me.
If someone said that, like,
that's
scary.
His secret, though, would have got out because he actually lived with a woman.
Was he married?
No, but he was with her for a lot longer than he told me.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there was, I think there was other multiple women too, but he wasn't supposed to be with me. Technically,
you say that
right?
Hanging off of a balcony, basically saying you don't want to die, but if I die, like, please take me back home. Mm-hmm. You would think anyone would be like, all right, we're going to the hospital. We're going to the hospital right now.
He should have taken me to the hospital. 100%. He should have taken me to the hospital. And by the grace of God, I made it through the night.
Do you remember anything after that balcony? Wow.
I just remember laying in the bed and him saying, I'm not going to go to sleep. Like, you can close your eyes. I'm not going to go to sleep. I'll make sure you're breathing. That? Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, just please, if I do die, like, please just don't bury my body in the desert. Because he was like a fixer. He was like a Ray Donovan. Like, I knew what he did in the NFL. I knew I know where a lot of bodies are buried, like, technically speaking.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
A lot of bodies.
I mean, like, maybe not real bodies, but, I know where a lot of secrets. I know a lot of things that I probably should know. Yeah. He should have had me sign an NDA.
Wow.
And just because I'm the type of person I am, I'll never...
No, I hear you.
I don't need to throw him under the bus for anything. But, yeah, he was a fixer. So that's why I said, please don't just bury me in the desert. Like, at least give my family the decency to, like, know what happened to me. But I was dead serious. I was dead ass. God.
Yeah, this might be another podcast.
Right, that might be another one. That whole relationship can be another podcast. Yeah, the NFL's a whole... I mean, I've worked in it for 8 years now, so...
How did you start with that?
From him.
Okay.
Yeah, because I met him at Spin, and I was like, hey, I'm a yoga teacher. This is what I want to do. I want to start teaching athletes. I had been teaching MMA and fighters at the time, and I said they, like, didn't have a whole lot of money. It was always a trade or something, and I'm like, I want to actually make a business out of this. So I had told him, because he was an NFL agent, I was like, this is what I want to do. And he's like, oh, I'll help you. Like, I have rookies. They're going from college into the draft. Like... I'm like, I just want to teach yoga, and, this is how it all started, my career, actually. So he did believe in me, and he did open the door, and I didn't think I was going to date him. I just wanted a job. But then we started talking and all this stuff, and I didn't know he had a girlfriend. Like, he presented as single, good to go, like, the whole thing, invited me places, took me to dinner, wined and dined me, the whole thing, like, talked to me every day. I mean, we were together 6 years, and we literally talked every single day.
6?
6. So I stayed too long.
And here you think, wow, like, I'm finally being treated well and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then how far into it did you realize he had, like, other women?
Probably fairly. I mean, so there was a red flag in the very beginning.
All right. Typically, they're always.
But I let it go. I thought red flags were carnivals instead of. I'm like, oh, a carnival! Yay, run!
Yay! This is what I know.
Unhealed, right? Unhealed.
Yeah.
Unhealed. My worth was I'm okay accepting minimum.
Right.
Minimum effort. That's okay with me because I'm not worthy enough to receive more. So that's where I was. Yeah. And then by the time 2019 came around and he took my kids and I lost my job, my ex-husband had gone after me for child support.
How does that even make sense?
Make it make sense. Okay? Make it make sense. So the agent was helping me financially at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
He stepped in and said, I will help you.
Right.
I have money. It's no big deal. And very kind. Yeah. And very, very, very kind. Opened the NFL door for me.
Right.
I will always be grateful for him for that. He did connect me into a career that I've made for myself. But I always say, you opened the door and you gave me an opportunity and I'm so thankful. But I kept the door open.
You kept the door open.
I kept the door open.
Did.
I did the work.
Yes, you did.
And I continue to do the work.
Right.
So thank you for getting me in.
Yes.
And I took it. I could have blown it, but I didn't.
Right.
I used the opportunity to my advantage. So that'll always be like, thank you. Thank you. And I'm grateful for him for everything because he taught me so many lessons and so many things I needed to know. Yeah. So the next morning I woke up, he had gone and done whatever, and I went to the spa and turned on a meditation that I had never turned on before. I'd never really been meditating or anything at the point. It was some angel meditation, random on YouTube.
See, you were meant to see that. Isn't that crazy? Okay.
But not,
but
right?
This is like the morning after.
The morning after.
Wow.
I almost die. So I have this like really scary experience.
Yeah.
And I just kept hearing like, this is not your path. This is not what you're supposed to do. You need to get off of everything. Everything needs to go.
Right.
Get off everything.
Wow.
No more doing anything. And like the drugs were helping me not have to feel.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I was taking the medicine because, number one, I still trusted doctors. And they're professionals. Like, I'm like, you know what you're talking about.
Right.
I trust you. Now it's a different story.
It's like prescription after prescription, right?
That's all it was. Yeah. And you could just ask for anything and they'd give it to you.
Right.
It was not difficult. I could have gotten literally anything I wanted from this doctor. But I heard get off. Everything needs to go. And I was like, okay, I never want to do that again. I don't. Right. I don't want to do it again. So I went home. I started researching how to get off these things. I called my doctor. They're like, well, we could put you on this to get you off that. And I'm like, you're not hearing me. I want to get off of everything. Yeah. I don't want to be on something else to get off of something else.
Right.
They were fighting me tooth and nail. Well, you can't just get off. It's dangerous. It's this, it's that. So then scaring me. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to research. Yeah. So I just started researching. Yeah. And the antidepressant thing, I was like, okay, that needs to be more slow. Let me put that to the side. The Adderall thing, I was like, I can get off this. I can do this. I can get off this. So I found one girl. I can't remember her name, but she was talking about getting off of Adderall. And I was like, okay, how'd she do it? Right. Yeah. So see, she suggested a couple things. Then I just kept researching. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do 30 days cold turkey.
Wow.
And I had no job at the time, so it's not like I had to get up and go anywhere. My kids were gone, so I didn't have any... Yeah. Like, Spirit was like, I'm going to remove everything from your life and give you this nice, cozy space to land. The dude's still paying for my life, which I'm very grateful for. He was very generous. So, which also was control. But, you know, he had me where he wanted me. But I just researched, and I started taking adaptogens, and I started taking mushrooms, and I started taking Shilajit, which basically replaced the Adderall for me.
What is Shilajit?
Oh, God, it's amazing. It's a tar from the Himalayas. It increases, like, your natural Shi.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll do a little side note on that. But yeah, so I would do a little scoop of that with like herbal. Well, no, I was still drinking coffee at the time. So I'd add the mushrooms to the coffee, the ashwagandha, like all the things. And then I would drink that in the morning. And then I would be tired as hell all day and, detoxing. Yeah. But I was still just trying to do all the things. So I told myself, if you do 30 days, you get to go to Hawaii.
Good.
So I bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii.
Oh my God.
30 days out. And I made it 30 days. And I went to Hawaii. And I stayed with a beautiful friend for 2 weeks. And she really helped me. And then when I got to Hawaii, I told myself, okay, every 2 weeks, I'm going to go 25 milligrams down of my antidepressant.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So every 2 weeks, I would go from 100 to, this to this, and 75, 50, 25. Ended up in Kauai. Whole nother podcast for that whole thing. It was wild in Kauai. Yeah. And I stopped drinking. I didn't drink, so that was when I stopped drinking alcohol, which I wasn't really a big drinker anyways, but I just cut it cold turkey. I was like, no more drinking.
Since 2018?
Yeah.
And nothing?
I've had a little wine in 22, but that's it.
Yeah, wow.
Otherwise,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't drank at all.
Wow.
It's the best decision I ever made in my life. Then I stopped smoking weed. So I was clean.
Wow.
Okay, so detoxed my whole body from all of this. That was in August 2019. Come December, I got some opportunities to do some different events and things, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I would volunteer to do things and events with speakers like Gabby Bernstein, and that's where I met Sahara and Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh my gosh.
I would volunteer.
That's brilliant.
To go to these conferences.
Wait, we'll sign in on that.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. And I would just listen to these speakers and listen to these wonderful people talk about how to reprogram your brain and how to change your life around and how to do all these things. And then all my spiritual gifts were coming in at the same time.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And I felt crazy because I was like, whoa, I'm seeing things and I'm hearing things. I'm like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out I've always been a psychic medium. Was curbing all of it with medication, with drugs, with alcohol, with...
Wow.
Right? But my intuition would always tell me my whole life. I always heard things. I always had this connection. And looking back now, I know my invisible friends weren't my invisible friends. They were spirits that I was, talking to.
So all that... when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I never knew. I always knew I was weird, but I didn't know why. I was like, why am I weird? But I thought everybody was weird. I'm like, can everybody hear? But they can't. And I would remember sitting in my grandma's house, which I live in now, which is beautiful. And there would be the TV in front of me. And I sat on the floor in the living room. And the TV wouldn't even be on. It would be off. And I'd be looking at it. And I would start to see this portal almost, this round thing. And it would just go. And I would keep asking myself, who am I? I was probably 4 or 5. And I would say to myself, who am I? And I'd be like, yeah, who am I? Who am I really? And I would go down this spiral of I don't know, I think they were just different dimensions that I would go into, and I would go deeper and deeper into who am I? I was asking myself that question as a small child. And then I would get so far in, it would scare me, and I'd be like, I gotta come back. Then I'd go play with my Barbies or something, because it would freak me out. But it would happen all the time, and I would just continue to question who am I? And if I'm not in this body, who am I? And where did I come from? And just all these really crazy things. So anyways, that was as a kid.
But you dismissed that kind of as a kid, but then it came back to you and
when I was in Hawaii.
When you were in Hawaii.
Yeah. So Kauai is just a beautiful place. Yeah. It's very spiritual. It's like a portal over there. It'll spit you out. It'll chomp you up and spit you out unless you want to do the work, and then it'll embrace you and help you heal.
Right.
So it tried to spit me out, and I was like, nope, I'm doing this. And so it was like, okay, you can stay. But yeah, while I was there, I started getting just downloads of things, and I didn't know what it was. So since I had been seeing all these people, and I got hired to work in this women's community that was a very spiritual community as the community manager. And so I had access to all these people. So I remember a shaman, and I contacted her, and I was like, hey, can you help me? I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm crazy. And she was like, all right, let's chat about it. And so the clairs, clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant. We all have clairs. Okay. Well, a lot of people just have one or two, or maybe one. I have all of them.
How many are there?
There's clairsentient, clairaudient, claircognizant, and clairvoyant. So I believe there's 4.
Off
the top of my head. So it's feeling, hearing, seeing, So like you feel things. So I feel it, right? Like I'll get warm or I'll feel tingles or something. I'll hear it.
Okay.
And then I also see it.
Wow.
To sense it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll have to review the clairs. I don't forget one.
Interesting, yeah.
But yeah, I have them all come in. So I was explaining this to her and I said, I feel like Harry Potter in the forest with a wand that's like going crazy and I'm blowing things up. Like I need to know how to work this tool. I don't know how to work it. It's working me. I'm not working it.
Right.
I'd go to the grocery store. I'd go to Trader Joe's. I remember this very vividly. And I just wanted to like get my groceries. And I just kept hearing like, you need to tell them this. You need to tell them that. Will you go tell them this? Will you go tell them that? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Wow. Yeah.
Like, what? And I remember talking to one lady because I don't know if it was her grandma, I don't remember, but whoever her ancestor was would not leave me alone. It was like, you have to tell her this, you have to tell her this, you have to tell her this. And I was like, fine. So this strange lady, I'm like, I have a message for you. Like, ugh. And she starts crying in Trader Joe's because it's her ancestor and the message. Like, I don't know what this person's saying. I don't, like, it's not for me to make sense of. But, and so I was like, oh, damn, like.
So they know you're gifted, so they're, like, coming after you to tell, like, the human level.
Yes, I'm the communicator. So then I didn't want to leave the house because I'm like, this is too much for me.
Yeah.
So my shaman taught me how to put, like, a do not disturb sign up. So they know, like, I'm available or I'm not available.
Wow.
So I worked with her, and she luckily let me be on a payment plan because her sessions were like, I don't know, $1,000 in session or something. It was like something wild. But she's like, I'll give you a little discount and let you pay monthly. And so I was like, I'll pay whatever. Like, I'm desperate. I don't know what's...
Yeah.
Because once I cleared my system, I was a clear vessel.
Oh, my God.
For everything.
For everything. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I mean, I always knew you were empathic. Like, we've talked about that with yoga, because you're like, sometimes I don't touch people because I don't want to take on their energy. And sometimes you know that they need the touch, so you touch them. But to have everything, that's insane.
Well, and I didn't know how to protect myself at the time. So that's why, looking back, I'm glad you said that, and because I didn't remember that. And I remember I wouldn't touch people because I would go home and just cry after teaching. And I'm like, why are you crying? Nothing's wrong with you.
Because you're taking on everyone's pain.
Because they're all coming into yoga broken and hurt. And I'm just
taking it in.
Taking it all on because I didn't know how to shield myself. I was just this sponge.
Yeah.
And there'd be like 50 people in the class. Can you imagine? I look back and I'm like, oh my God.
But does it take work to realize, like, what you need to do to shield? Like, yeah.
But it's easy.
It is.
Like, I teach people now how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
but at the time, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And when people say, oh, I'm an empath, I feel so that I can't. And I'm like, no, don't use that excuse. You can't, oh, I'm an empath. Yeah, no, fuck that. You learn how to protect yourself.
Yeah. What's like a basic thing to protect yourself?
Every morning. So you just close your eyes when you get up in the morning and envision a cord coming from your root down into the earth. Let it just wrap around the center of the earth. Feel really connected and grounded. Let the energy come up from earth into your cord, into your sacrum. Let it go up your spine, hit all the chakras, open up the crown of your head, take that same cord, send it up to sky. It'll plug in to source, like you're plugging in a light socket, right? Just plug right in.
Wow.
That energy comes down. You combine it with earth. So and now I'm like, okay, I'm connected to both places. I'm solid. And then it comes out the body and you create that orb around you. Now you can take that orb further out. Like I can make it out so the whole room, or I can take it real close.
Where it protects you?
Where it just protects me. So if I want to be more open and I want things to come in, like I'll extend it so you can come in and we can, have a little party. If I'm going to a concert, I'm going somewhere, a party, a lot of people or something, I pull it close.
Wow.
So nothing can penetrate.
Yeah.
And I'm in my little, protective orb. So all you have to do is do that.
Like every morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't actively do it every morning now. I meditate every morning and I just automatically put the shield on.
Wow.
But it's not as a crazy of a process anymore. It just kind of happens. Now I have to now the shield's always up. The sign's always on. And I actually have to take it off and open up if I want when I'm doing sessions and things. Yeah.
So you're pretty shielded until you decide to Okay.
I mean, stuff will still try to come in, but it won't be like,
wow,
like crazy messages and stuff. Now I open the portal on purpose, call in who I want to call in to come, and then move through it. Yeah. Or wait till, you know, like if I'm doing a session with someone, a Reiki session with someone, and I ask them, like, is it okay, you know, if I open up the portal for your ancestors and messages? And usually they say yes. And probably 99% of the time they'll come through. Every once in a while somebody is like, if they just crossed over, sometimes they're off doing their thing and they're not ready to come in.
Do you invite them to come in?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Sometimes. I mean, I always invite them, but sometimes they just as soon as that door opens, they're like, I have things to say.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Wow. So what do you do after a session though if it's like kind of deep or heavy? Like how do you like cleanse
I cleanse myself every time. So you just do like a little dry bath.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, just go 1, 2, 3 and then 1, 2, 3 and I'll just brush it off my feet. I'll do, you know, a little smoke sage cleanse or you could just shake it off too.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's so amazing.
It's a good time.
I know.
Yeah,
you gotta do a session.
No, for sure. I know. It's so fun. And then sometimes people will just like, I'll be talking to someone, like at Spin the other day, my girlfriend who teaches sent somebody over to me to talk about Reiki, and he started talking and I was like, oh, and I got the messages for him very clearly. And I was like, well, what I'm being shown is da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I just like, you know, told him, gave him a little mini, 10-minute.
Little session.
Yeah.
Does it scare most people or?
I always ask permission first.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't into it, especially like my one girlfriend's really religious and she's like, don't bring that witchy shit in my house. And I'm like, girl, it's not witchy. It's nothing. Like you say pray, I say meditate. Like you're getting the same information through your intuition that I am. I'm not doing any like, you know.
I mean, I kind of feel like it's all connected. Right? Yeah. We just call it different things.
Yeah, it's just a different name. Wow. But, I'm respectful of everybody. But I just explained to her, like...
Yeah.
They're just affirmation cards. They're not like... You know, I'm not voodoo doll.
Yeah. Like, we're going to have this right.
I just get information. And I just think everybody gets it, but I guess they don't.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But you actually hear the voice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hear it. And then I'll see people like my one client, so his grandpa comes in, you know, often. And the first time I was like, so I'm seeing like suspenders, you know. I'm like, he kind of reminds me of like something Luigi would wear. And he's like, oh yeah, it's my grandpa. He always wears that. I'm like, and he has a pipe. He's like, yeah, I smoked a pipe.
My God.
Yeah, I'm like, he's in this rocking chair. He's like, oh, that's the chair that was on the, you know, balcony or whatever.
Wow.
I still, like, for a couple years, I was like, this can't be real. Like, I must be crazy.
Because you're just, like, having visions, right?
Yeah. The first, like, big one, I was at Equinox. I went to take a yoga class. I was a little bit late, and I knew the teacher, so she, like, put a mat down for me. So I didn't pick my spot. It was chosen for me. This was shortly after I got back from Hawaii.
2018.
And I was working, like, 20.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. It had to have been 19 because 2020 I stopped going to Equinox during COVID because they wanted you to wear a mask. And I was like, yeah, I'm not down for that. So it had to be 19.
Right.
When I got back from Hawaii before COVID hit, or early 2020. Anyways, so I go into class, I'm doing yoga, whatever. There's a lot of people. The teacher, the girl next to me, like something happened with her neck. And I looked at my friend and I was like, do you want me to help her so you can keep teaching? And she's like, yeah. So I was just like, are you okay? Like, do you want help? Like, I do a little bit of like body work and energy work. Do you want help on your neck? And she was like, yes, please. So I was just kind of doing a little bit of stuff with her neck. And I kept hearing and seeing this little girl on a swing. And I'm like, what? And she's like, tell her I'm here. And I'm like,
oh my
what?
Gosh.
No clue what's happening. I'm like, did I watch a movie?
Yeah.
Did I read a book? Why am I making it? Like, why is this in my head?
Yeah.
So I finished the girl's neck. I go back to my mat. I'm trying to practice. My body was like, nope, sit down. You're not practicing. And I was like, what? So I just sit there. And then I kept seeing this little girl. She's like, I'm on a swing and there's a rope. And the rope is, you know, intertwined. And I see this. She's like, my long blonde hair. And she's giving me all these like things. And I'm like, what? And she just won't go away. And this vision just keeps staying there. And then after class, she's like, tell her. And I'm like, I'm going to look like a crazy person. This woman is going to, and I don't know this lady.
Right.
Never seen her before in my life. She's going to be like, what the fuck? So I just said, how's your neck? She's like, it's good. Thank you so much. I was like, so this might sound really weird, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because I feel like I need to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you open for me, telling you something that was coming in while I was working on you? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I said, I don't know what this means, but I'm seeing a little girl in a swing, and I was telling her what it looked like in the rope, and it was under a tree and in a front yard, and her long blonde hair, and she just starts bawling her eyes out. And I don't know what's happening. And she's like, my daughter passed away a year ago today.
Oh my God. A year
and
ago.
I said, do you mind
that day?
That day. It was her anniversary of her death. It was that day.
Chills like everywhere.
And I said, do you mind me asking how old she was? Like, was she around like 5 or 6? And she said, yeah, she was 6, I think.
Oh my God.
And she goes, I've been wanting to talk to her so bad, but I just can't feel her. And I just was telling my friend I was going to go see a medium or something because I couldn't talk to my daughter and I miss her so much. And I was just like, what the hell? And her hair, I said, well, this is just the hair. And she's like, yeah, she was doing treatments for, whatever it was. And she had lost her hair. And she said, Mommy, I want my long blonde hair. I said, well, she showed me she's swinging. And then she said, we made her swing in her honor in our front yard. And it was a rope swing. So I'm like, well, she's in the swing in front of your house with her long flowing in the wind, hair. But that was like my first big, like, oh shit, I do have this gift. Like, I'm not making things up.
Wow.
Like, it really is happening.
Oh my gosh.
And this woman was just so grateful. And I'm like, okay, so my ego was like, you're going to look stupid. Don't say anything. Where I would have foregone this whole thing, and this woman never would have known that her daughter was trying to talk to her and used me to let her know that she was okay. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is important work.
That's
like,
a gift.
I do need to explore this, and I can't let my ego get in the way, or so now when things come, I just ask permission from the person first. Like, hey, are you okay if I share this with you?
That's amazing. Oh my God.
I know.
I mean, you probably felt free realizing that you had this gift, but then you're like, wow, like I can actually utilize it to help other people kind of.
Yeah, that was the first thing, because otherwise I'm like, what's the point, really? Wow. Right? Like, these aren't people for me, you know? But yeah, like, that mom was just so grateful. She was like, thank you so much for sharing that. Like,
that's amazing.
She never would have known. So if I don't use the gift, then I'm like taking away from someone else's, possible healing or experience, or because I'm just a vessel, you know? Just the portal for them to receive whatever it is.
Well, like with someone I feel like I have a very strong intuition, and I feel things, but like, what would be your advice for people who feel things, but they don't really know what to do with it? Or how do we deepen our intuition to know it's not fear and it's actually like intuition?
Yeah. Your intuition won't ever present as fear.
Okay.
It won't. Intuition's very like soft.
Huh.
It's not like a loud, like, rawr, kind of thing. It's not anxiety.
It's not anxiety.
Because I used to be like, is this my intuition or my anxiety? And I used to think the two, I had to figure out which one it was. Now, when you've been in relationships where people have cheated on you, right, for example, and then you're in another relationship and you have that same feeling, you're like, is this from my past trauma or is this actually happening? And it was very confusing for me. Yeah. Very confusing.
Right.
Looking back, my intuition was right every time.
It was.
It was never my anxiety. Because the way it came in, it wasn't like, it was, I want you to look at this. Right? It was a message coming across his iWatch with a blue butterfly, very subtle, that was like, pay attention to that. And then
interesting.
24 hours later, on the phone was the same blue butterfly.
Interesting.
With the message of the other woman.
Wow.
So it was very like...
Pay attention.
Just pay attention.
Huh.
I'm just going to show you this. Just pay attention.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh, that was weird.
Right.
But then it came up again, and it was like, let me show you something.
Yeah.
So usually intuition is very whisper. It's calm. It's not loud. And it's just that little like, pay attention.
Okay. Pay attention.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
little tap. But then if you don't pay attention, it gets
A little bit louder.
a little more. And then if you still don't pay attention,
Yeah.
it shakes you. And then if you still don't pay attention,
Right.
you get kicked in the face. That's how I've experienced it anyways. I've had a lot of kicks in the face.
We're trying to tell you.
We're trying to tell you.
Like,
We're trying to tell you. And you're not listening because you're wanting to believe that it's not happening. Of course I don't want to believe it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course I don't. And that's where the hard decisions come in sometimes, right? Or, so I tell people, my clients, I'm like, to practice your intuition, practice with like easy stuff, right? You can play with your friend. Be like, what number am I thinking? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. Yeah, 3.
I didn't have to think about
Yeah,
it.
see? Because you just went with your gut. You didn't overthink it.
I mean, 3 is my favorite number, but it's funny, before you even said 1, 2, or 3, I was
said
thinking
3. See? So you already heard me because I was telling you.
Yeah.
I was telling you 3. I'm like, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, right? And you picked up on that.
Yeah.
We all have telepathy. We all do.
Right.
You know, when you're like,
I
was just thinking about you and you called me.
Right. Yeah, it happens all the
That's
time.
telepathy.
Yeah. Energy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like paying attention and tapping in.
It's paying attention. So I'd say work on it like that, or get in your car and don't put on your map and be like, okay, I'm going to use my intuition to see which way I go to get to the place.
Yeah.
Let your intuition guide you.
Right.
Don't turn on your phone. Don't turn on your map.
Right.
Just use your intuition. Practice. Practice.
Right.
Practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's always that inner knowing.
Always.
Yeah.
We always know what to do. We just think we don't because we outthink our intuition.
Yeah.
Once you get out of your intuition and into your brain, it's hard to get back.
Right.
Because you then just go on this ride with your thoughts.
With your thoughts.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm going to attach to that one.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Just let it be.
Let it pass.
Let it pass. It's like being... like there's a gate, right, to get in, and you're the gate watcher, right? You're at the gate, you let people in and out.
Yeah.
Right? You don't get in their car and go with them where they're going.
Right.
You stay at the gate.
Yeah.
And you watch the car go in and you watch the car go out. You watch the car go in and it's same with watching your breath.
Right.
You're not hopping in the car with them.
Yeah.
Because then you're leaving your post.
Right. That's a good analogy.
It's the same thing. It's like a thought comes in and you're like, oh, let me attach to that thought and go down. Alice goes down the rabbit hole. No one's at the post anymore. We've left ourselves.
Right.
We've gone into this whole nother alternate world. We're no longer present. We're no longer in our heart. We don't know what the fuck's going on anymore.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We're so far from our intuition.
Right.
Because we followed this random thought.
Right.
It's just a random thought.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to mean anything.
Stop attaching ourselves to it, right?
But we do.
Yeah.
We do. So that's kind of like your intuition, right? You'll hear it. It'll be a whisper. It won't be something that... It will remind you, like, hey.
Yeah. And it's just like tapping into it. Like my whole trip when I was gone for 6 months, like I let the intuition and energy like lead me the whole way, and it never steered me wrong. And like I connect when I journal, so like I'll go in nature, and like when I do quiet the mind, right? And I start writing, and then I start asking for guidance. Like
it comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of it's pay attention, like that's the guidance.
Yeah.
And just get started, and like, but all these little things, and it's there. And I have probably multiple journal entries of literally probably saying the same thing, but I wasn't like paying attention.
But you weren't paying attention.
And it's like, pay attention. Or one of the things was like, why are you trying to like make your path harder? Like the path is paved right in front of you, but you're trying to get off the path and make it harder. It's like, let the energy take you, like flow with it, you know? And then once we surrender and let go, it's amazing how life kind of just flows.
Yeah.
Like for real.
And it's easy.
It sounds, it's easy once you like accept the concept and actually allow yourself to receive it and just let it flow.
It's funny how that is.
It's crazy.
And even when you flow, right, there's going to be a rock and there's going to be a turn and there's going to be a twist. Like, we're not saying that it's going to be perfect, right? That perfect thing again. Your road is meant to have challenges.
Right.
But that's for a reason. It's like, stay on the path because this path is going to give you the challenges I want you to have. That path is going to give you some crazy ass shit.
Right.
But that's okay. You can choose it.
Right.
You can choose it.
You can choose it.
But this one's going to be a little
smoother
maybe. For you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have things set up for you.
Yeah. It's wild.
Plan detours.
Yeah. And how we just grasp, you know? Like, the art really is letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's that conversation then about free will and predestined path.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little of both, right? I believe we have a definite, like, you know, karmic path and a destined, like, path. But I also believe that we have free will within that path to make different choices of different timelines to go on. I believe there's multiple timelines for us to choose. I don't believe that there's just one. Same with, like, I don't believe in the one. I believe that we are the one.
I like that.
Like, I am the one.
Yeah.
For me, and I need to be in that oneness with myself in order to have that relationship with anyone else fully be the truth.
Yeah.
If I'm not in relationship with my one myself, it's always going to be something of unhealed that I pull in.
Right.
So now, again, another point of my life, I'm like working on that relationship with me because I've done better every relationship, right? The last one was only 3 years. Okay? I didn't stay 6. I didn't stay 10. 10, 6, 3. Yay, progress. And then I didn't let myself get fully kicked in the face really hard. Like, it was just kind of like just one black eye, not two. Before I decided, you know, to value myself and exit and then fully be in that relationship with myself. Like, even deeper than I thought.
Right.
You know, this time. So that I can now consciously manifest my person, my partner that will be next in my life, right? But I want to come from that place of wholeness so that I can attract a whole partner, not somebody. And of course, we're always going to have work, right? But I want to attract a man who's where I'm at. Yeah. In his healing and in his knowing and in his, not someone who
you need to take care of.
That's been the theme.
Or fix.
Oh, yeah. I'm really great at falling in love with potential, too. I'm really good
That's such a great word, potential.
Which is a gift that I can see someone's potential, right? I can see the best in people and what they're capable of. That's a gift. It's great. But that's not who they are right now. Right. That's who I see them to be able to be, but they may never get there. So what am I, like... Yeah. But I'm great at loving the potential.
You're like betting on potential.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really good at it.
Well, you're learning and growing every day.
Learning.
Right. So what are some of the tools you use, though, to get out of your head or, like, let go of those old patterns that maybe you've been going back to? Yeah. And I know it's a practice, but...
Yeah, it's been a long process. I would say that one of the biggest things in the beginning that helped me was EMDR type of therapy. It's like a hypnosis type therapy. It's like with rapid eye movement. So... I would be with my therapist. She would take me into like this meditation place. And this is why I love this kind of therapy so much. Because I'm like, oh, I got this. Like the meditation. Like I can do this. So you go in and you visualize certain things. And it's like being on drugs. But you're not. And you will just be shown things and things from your childhood. And then I would just process. And she would be like, okay, now that you have this, tell me the next part. And so then it would be shown to me and I would talk that part and then it would just keep going. So the EMDR was huge for me. I feel like that really saved my life. Like that really helped. And then I did a lot of neuroplasticity, rewiring the brain, again, through deep imaginings, like almost like a hypnotic state-ish, where you go into this meditation. And I started with the womb. So like being in my mom's womb.
Wow.
Yeah. And it would take me back there and I would be shown. And it took a long time. It wasn't like I just did one of the womb and everything was shown to me and I moved on. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like that. It was, I did probably a couple weeks of the womb, maybe 3 or 4 days a week. Wow. Until things started to, and then I would write them down after, and then it started to make sense. Oh, my mom had a lot of anxiety when she was pregnant with me. Mm-hmm. That transfers right in to me.
Interesting.
And my grandma. So I was in my mom's womb when my mom was in my grandma's womb. So your grandmother and their state also travels to us.
Yeah, I've heard that even through like a religious type of thing, like the ancestral stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain a little bit how that works and how to like cut that cord.
I mean, there's a couple of things. Energetically, we can cut cords. The thing with cutting cords energetically is if you continue to engage with that person or with that thing, it's just going to reattach. So you have to have behavior modification with the energetics of it, right? So if I cut a cord from my ex, but then I keep talking to my ex, I'm just going to keep reattaching the cord.
Right.
People are like, just cut the cord. And I'm like, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
But then you have to do some work.
Right.
To keep the cord cut.
Right.
Are you ready to do that? Because otherwise it's just going to reattach. And I'm not going to see you every week to cut the cord. Like, it's pointless. Don't give me your money. Until you're ready to make change. So I would do the deep imaginings. I would journal a lot after. It was a very, it's a very emotional time. You start to learn things about your childhood that maybe you didn't know or didn't remember. And it's nothing bad for my parents. They're wonderful people, but we all make mistakes. I mean, I made mistakes as a parent too. You know, you do what you know.
Yeah.
And you do the best you can with the knowledge that you have.
Right.
But her mom, and what came from my grandma.
Right.
And what did my mom not see?
Right.
Right? And so she carried that to me. And then I've been the one in my family to change a lot of those things.
Right.
The money stories. My family was in the Great Depression, so there was lack and scarcity.
Yeah.
So then that passes down through every generation.
Yeah.
If it's not consciously taken care of.
Wow.
Right? So started in the womb. Once I got my clarity through there and things started coming through, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Okay, I have that information. And then I'd go to like 0 to, 12 months or whatever. And I would do the same process and then the same process.
Were you doing it on your own or were you doing it with like a therapist to help you?
I was doing it with my therapist, but I was also doing it through a coach, a manifestation coach who was helping. It's called To Be Magnetic. Her name's Lacey Phillips. She is amazing and has all of these things lined out in her program. And so I basically got a membership, and then a girlfriend of mine who was a client of mine at the gym I taught at was a coach for her. So I worked in tandem with her. A lot of it I did on my own. And then would go to therapy and then go through the EMDR and the processing with her too. But it was a good, I want to say a year.
Wow.
Of real dedicated devotion to this work.
Yeah.
But it works.
It works.
It works. It works.
Wow.
And your brain, now we know, is that neuroplastic, so it can change. Mm-hmm. Where they used to tell us our brain was what it was, it can't be rewired, you are who you are, it is what it is, you're doomed. That's not the truth.
Right.
You can change things.
Yeah.
You can change patterns. Once you get the information, though, then you have to process it. You have to move it out of your body.
Move it out.
Okay, that's the thing. A lot of people don't move.
Yeah.
It stays stagnant. It gets stuck. And what happens? Then you get dis-ease of the body.
Disease, yeah.
Whether that's autoimmune or cancers or whatever it is, you're not moving
it out
of the body. So it's going to go here and here, your shoulder, your neck, your hip, whatever.
Yeah.
Could manifest in an injury or something else. You have to move. You have to move. And then you have to have a plan. Okay, so how am I going to change this now?
Right.
Right? So I love pattern interruption.
Oh.
Here comes the pattern. Okay. Oh, this feels familiar. I can choose. I know if I go with this thought, feeling, where it takes me.
Right.
Now my nervous system says that's familiar.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Right. Because it's
familiar and it's safe. Because our nervous system has one job.
Right.
To keep you safe. So it's going to do whatever it can.
Yeah.
To keep you safe. Even if that means doing the thing that doesn't serve you anymore.
Right.
Right? So the nervous system will always pick the comfortable hell over the uncomfortable heaven. So you have to recognize that and say, okay, here comes the thought. My nervous system wants to go there.
Right.
It's going to be tough the first time, but I'm going to choose to do something different. I'm going to think a different thought. I'm going to do a different action. I'm not going to sit here and get on Instagram and go through whatever. Right. I'm going to put the phone down. Yes. I'm going to get my ass up and I'm going to go for a walk.
Right.
I'm going to do some affirmations. Now, affirmations don't fix everything. Don't get me wrong. Right. You have to do all this work. Yeah. But affirmations definitely help, especially when you're doing this. You've got to change the language in your brain.
Right.
You've got to change it. It's going to sound like you're lying to yourself at first. It's going to sound like bullshit. Right. You're going to be like, I'm gaslighting
Because it's
myself.
like you're saying it and you're not believing it.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Because your nervous system says, you're not that.
Yeah.
You're this.
Right.
You're not safe. You're unsafe.
Yeah.
To feel safe, you need to text that guy.
Right.
Because that's what you always do. Mm-hmm. That's what's safe. That's what feels comfortable. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's not what's safe.
Right.
What's safe is me finding safety within myself, within my own body, and knowing that I can take care of me. Now, I'm not saying we don't need community and family and all of that. I'm saying the sense of like really knowing that I've got myself.
Yeah.
And that I can trust myself.
Yeah.
Self-trust is most people don't trust themselves.
Right.
So rewiring that, right?
Yeah.
How do you start to trust yourself? Well, little things. Promise yourself something small that you know you're going to do.
Right.
I'm going to get up and brush my teeth in the morning.
Right.
Then you get up and you brush your teeth in the morning. Cool. You kept your promise.
Yeah.
Make yourself another promise.
Right.
And then start to create bigger promises. Mm-hmm. And then before you know it, you trust yourself to make better choices.
I like that.
You know?
Yeah, start small.
Start small. Mm-hmm. But you can rewire.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're in that pattern, change it. But get up.
Yes.
Go outside.
Because like I love that you said your body, your mind will always choose the uncomfortable hell.
The comfortable hell.
The comfortable hell.
Yeah. But your hell is comfortable. Heaven
is the harder choice.
Yeah, because even though you know you're going to feel better once you finally do that, it's not your pattern.
Yeah.
Your pattern is the drama, perhaps.
Right. Yeah.
So your nervous system says, well, the drama is safe because I know I know how to manage that.
Right.
So why would I choose over here? That's hard.
Mm-hmm. That's uncomfortable.
Your nervous system is like, I don't know that I can do that.
Yeah.
It's too much work.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah, you're fucking right. It's work.
It's a lot of work.
It's work.
But so much of this podcast really is like stepping into the uncomfortable.
It's the only way you change.
And that's the only way you're going to get kind of like the life that you desire as well. Or you're just going to be stuck in hell, kind of.
Yeah, and people are addicted to that.
Yeah.
They're addicted to drama.
Yeah.
They're addicted to the highs and lows of the relationship because your nervous system then goes, oh, this is familiar.
Right.
Where then the next relationship, let's say it's the healthy one and it's peaceful.
Yeah.
You're like,
this isn't exciting.
This must be boring. This is boring. This is boring. I'm bored.
Right.
Peace? What's that?
Wait, what?
This is weird.
You want to communicate?
And nobody talks about the healthy relationship after several unhealthy relationships, right? And are you ready for the actual man or woman that you want to call in? Have you done the work to be able to hold?
Right.
Because now you're going to be asked to level up.
Yeah.
Which my previous partner had a hard time meeting me there. So we had, he's got to figure that out. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for communication?
Yeah.
Are you ready for honesty?
Yeah.
All the things you actually want.
Right.
You have to cultivate that within yourself. You have to be ready for them and be ready to actually hold that container with them.
Right. Yeah. It sounds easy, but it's not.
It's not. And relationships are like, The biggest triggers.
Oh, yeah.
They're such a blessing, and they're the biggest triggers because they're the mirror. They're going to show you exactly what you need to look at.
Right.
Yay.
I know, and it's like, how do you get to the root of the problem? Because even something on my trip, like, because, I was journaling and channeling, and the biggest thing that came up was abandonment, like fear of abandonment. But it's not like I had bad parents, but there is like this crazy root that literally I've got to change that because I feel like everyone's just going to abandon me. Yeah. So it's very interesting, you know?
And it might not even be that somebody physically left you.
Right.
It could be an emotional abandonment.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe your needs weren't totally met.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because I feel like, I've been on this healing journey and I still am, but I'm very self-aware. But then sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'm aware of this stuff, but then how do I release it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you just do.
Yeah.
But do you know the root of it? Right? It's like getting to, okay, we can't Band-Aid it.
Yeah.
What's the root?
Right.
And I have abandonment stuff too, and it doesn't make sense to me either, in this life, because my parents were married, they were there. What I realized is my dad had PTSD, and there was always he loved me so much, and my dad's my person, and I love you, Dad, and you know that. He's passed, so I can, just chat with him now. But,
do you talk?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't come around a lot sometimes because I'm but he does come tell me he's proud of me and all the things. Where was I going with that?
PTSD.
Oh, yeah. So I think he always just had kind of a gap in between really being able to meet me.
Yeah.
So I feel like my sometimes leaving or abandonment was almost an emotional, my needs weren't fully always met. I know my mom had some anxiety and stuff, and then I read in my baby book, she was really sick, and I don't think she was fully with me, the first couple weeks of my life.
Right.
So, as a newborn baby, I think being cared for by other people, that is also part of that, of not having that connection right off the get. So, I think that's part of the abandonment stuff that I feel. And then I also explore, is it past life?
Right. Yeah.
Did it happen in a former life? And now I, in this life, am working on clearing some of that. So it could be a couple of things. It's interesting. And it could happen later on in your life too.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean it happened when you were young.
Right.
Someone could have abandoned you as a teenager or as a young adult.
Yeah.
And that's where now the fear is.
Or maybe it started when I was a kid and then it just kept growing bigger and bigger.
Could have. Yeah.
It's wild though. Yeah. So I guess, my biggest thing is how, when you're aware of something and how do you, but I guess you just have to do the work, right?
Yeah, you become aware. And once you're aware, what do I want to do with this information?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So do you have something that you're aware of that you want to shift?
Yeah, I mean, probably that sort of stuff, or, the fear of, or say in relationships, they're just going to leave me anyway, but probably because that's been a pattern.
And is that your self-talk?
Right. So it's kind of acknowledging okay, that's fear probably speaking,
Yeah, for sure. And let's just go there. What if they leave you?
Right. Then it is what it is. There's nothing I can do, right?
Right? They weren't meant for you.
Except on myself.
They weren't meant for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you almost get to a point then, too, where you're okay, they might leave.
Right.
They might. That's true.
Yeah.
And in my past, they have left.
Yeah.
So to tell yourself that they're not going to leave isn't really going to solve the problem. So it's almost okay, if they leave, they leave. I'm going to let them leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I let them leave, I'm going to let me choose different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then you're cultivating this trust within yourself, but also with the person.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we can't control other people.
Right. Exactly.
So we have to do the work inside to say, okay, of course I don't want them to leave, but if they leave, they're not leaving me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're abandoning themselves or whatever it is. It's not them actually leaving you. They've abandoned themselves and then decided whatever they need to decide, right? But at the end of the day, too, it's like that person wasn't meant for me, or they wouldn't have abandoned me.
But they were maybe meant for us at that time because they were part of our growth, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's almost like, I mean, look, I've been cheated on, right? So if I get in another relationship, is that going to be a fear? Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Of course.
Even in this last relationship, I worked really hard because I was like, okay, well, if he does, he does. But at first it was very scary.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen. It ended up happening. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It happened.
There's nothing you could have done.
Right?
Yeah.
So I will listen to the signs a little bit quicker, right? When I see the flags, it's like, okay, it's not a carnival.
Right.
There's the flag. Because I've always been shown it very early. I just ignored it.
Yeah.
So even with the abandonment thing, it's like, okay, if there's signs that this relationship is not in alignment, I need to listen to that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if that person does leave, it wasn't meant for me. Because nothing that's ever meant for you will leave you.
Right. Yeah.
It will never pass you by. You won't miss out on an experience ever.
Yeah.
A job, an experience, a relationship. It's never going to not come to you if it's meant for you.
If it's meant for you.
So it's like this real, like, I don't know, I've come to the point in my life where I have immense trust in spirit, God, whatever you want to name it.
Right.
Because I've been shown over the course of 45 years that the one thing that never abandons me is God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never. I've never been abandoned.
It's
never.
So true. It's
ever. And I have God in me.
Yes.
Like how I see it is like, you know, spirit's here and there's all these little strings coming down and they attach right into our hearts and we're all part of that universal God source.
Yeah.
So that's me. I am.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
I'm not, because I ask people, I say, you know, if I were to ask you who you are, what would you say?
Right.
Most people say, I am Katie, or I'm Katie Dorish, or, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, take the last name away.
Right.
Okay, take the middle name away.
Yeah.
Okay, take the first name away.
Right.
Now who are you?
Right.
Oh, well, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, I'm a this, I'm a that. Those are all earthly things.
Right.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Without the name.
Yeah.
Without the gender, without the job.
Right.
Without the title, the mom, the dad, the sister, the brother. Who were you before you got all those things?
Right.
Because you didn't have any of that when you got here.
No.
You didn't come from, you weren't that. You didn't have a name. You were given a name.
Yeah.
You were given a body.
Right.
So who are you really?
Who are we really? Yeah.
You know, so I've never been abandoned by Source. I've always been taken care of, and I truly, truly believe that.
Yeah.
And when I trust in Source rather than human, I know I'm good.
Yeah.
I know I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm always led. I'm always gifted. I've always been shown, like, even with my ex who I love so much, I'm like, what is going on with you? Your phone's breaking, your this is happening. And like all these things are happening in your life. Like I go, I don't want to know the details, but how are you living right now?
Right.
Like what kind of choices are you making?
Right.
You might want to clean up your side of the street. Because every time I've been living in alignment and in truth and listening and really following like the highest path, like we want to call it your highest self. I call it my favorite self.
Oh, I love that.
Instead of my highest self, I'm like, oh, it's my favorite self. You know?
Oh, yes.
When I'm living in my favorite version of me.
Yes.
I'm not saying I don't struggle because things, you know, happen. But when things come in, I'm like, oh, okay, that sucked. How am I going to deal with that? Okay,
right.
Here's the plan. Okay, now what?
Yeah.
It's more of an, okay, well,
now
that
what?
was shit.
Yeah.
Now what am I going to do?
Now what? Yeah.
How do I move through this?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Exactly.
That was like a plan.
Right. Show me
the plan. And sometimes the plan is no plan. Sometimes the plan is just chill.
Just be.
And I'm like, fuck, but I want the plan. And he's like, or she.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Just be.
It'll be revealed.
When
Do you
the
trust
time
me?
is right.
Do you trust?
Yeah.
Can you surrender to the path? And that's the only thing that gets me through now is just knowing that like I'm divinely guided and protected. And that's the mantra of every day. Guided and protected. I'm divinely guided and protected. And I just remind myself of that when I start to get a little too human.
Yeah. Say it again.
I'm divinely guided.
I'm divinely guided.
And protected.
And protected. I like that.
Yeah. And it's true. We all are.
Yeah.
If we choose to believe it and tap into it and live in that way. And it kind of reminds me of like, you know, growing up religious. It follows, blah, blah, blah. But it has lots of parallels.
Yeah.
You know, religion is very in a box to me.
Right.
I'm very spiritual, and I feel like they can definitely go together without all the, you know, dogma of religion and sitting in the thing with the priest and all of that. It's another topic. But I'm like, why do I have to talk to that guy in a robe who I don't fucking know when I have a direct line to God?
Right.
That seems weird.
Yeah.
Seems weird, guys.
Yeah.
I can just talk to him in my bedroom. Why do I have to go in there? Like, you're putting me in a room with a strange man with the door closed.
Yeah.
You don't think that's kind of weird? But anyways, just knowing, you know, and fully surrendering and just allowing.
Yeah.
I think our human gets in the way and our ego and like, well, I want it to be this way and I want it to be that way. And it's like, well, that might not be the way it's supposed to be for you.
Yeah.
So you might want to let that go, because I guarantee you God always has a better plan for you than what you can imagine for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, as humans, we don't even have the capacity to fathom the life that could be ours.
Right.
Like, we can't even imagine it. So when I manifest, I'm like, this or something better.
I like that. This or something better. That's good.
So I don't limit myself.
No.
This or something better.
Yeah.
This or something better. This or something better. And right now with the full moon, which is today.
Yeah, I know. And the fact that we're doing it on the full moon.
That's great.
It's like my half birthday, too, because I'm December 11th. Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yay. And it's such a beautiful energy, this moon. I mean, of course, it brings things up to release, but this moon's energy is like, help is on the way, dear.
I know. I feel really good this moon.
It's supportive.
And a lot of moons, I am like, it's heavy.
Girl, this year has been, we've been going through so many transits astrologically. It's been the eclipse portals and Venus in retrograde and just all like, man.
I know.
I'm ready for
the
this.
energy has been intense, but like this moon, I feel great.
I'm tired as shit, but I know that's just, you know, the energies of, you know, the full moon, but it's beautiful right now. I'm like, it's beautiful.
Oh my God.
I feel great.
I feel like we can talk forever.
I know.
We might have to do a few more.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Okay, maybe two things.
Okay.
Would you consider maybe doing like, to close it, like a nice little meditation?
Yeah.
And then like you can finish with the sound bowl.
Okay.
So we can like finish like that. Like maybe something grounding or like related to the full moon, or maybe letting go or surrender, but you can choose.
Okay.
Because I know you're great at that. And then I guess my last question is, I mean, looking back at your whole life and how you've evolved and let go of things and surrendered, if you were to like wrap it up and give your younger self like one piece of advice, say like even when you're 21 years old, you know, like what would you tell her?
Man, I've done this a lot. Just trust.
I love it.
Just trust.
Yeah.
Listen to your intuition and trust you're going to be okay. You're going to be better than okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be better than okay.
Better than okay.
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. That's it. Because I don't regret anything. I wouldn't change anything.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, this is why I know you're so special, because I've been
Spirit
getting
bumps!
like chills and like the ooey gooeys.
I love it.
So
I know. They're great.
But
yeah, because the path is the path. I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't go through all of it, what I've gone through. I wouldn't be able to help other people in the way that I do if I didn't go through, right? Yeah. Like, even my ex, and we're such good friends, but I would tell him, like, your darkness doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
Go there. It's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare me because I've met myself in the bottom of the hole.
Right.
I've been laying on the ground in the bottom of the hole, face down in the dirt.
Yeah.
Wanting to leave the planet.
Yeah.
There's no darker place I could visit while I'm here. I've been there.
You've been there.
So knowing I've survived that.
Right.
And that I can handle those things.
Yeah.
I got it. I got you.
Right.
You know, it's okay. I'm not afraid of darkness.
Yeah.
I know we can make it out.
Yes.
You know, and I was afraid of it for a long time. It was very scary. I was afraid if I went there, I'd be depressed again. Right. So I was terrified for years. But now I know I'm capable of holding and I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I think my purpose in life and on this planet is to guide others through things.
Yeah.
And in order to be able to do that, I've had to have been there.
Yes.
So.
No, it's amazing.
You know. Fuck. Okay, let's do this.
But yes, we will have to have another podcast.
Is the sauna on?
I know.
Sweaty. Let me just move this over.
Ooh.
Heavy little thing.
I love it.
And, yeah, we'll do it.
Let's do it.
I've never played it like this before, but...
Do you want to sit down on the ground, or what do you want to do?
No, I'm good. I'll figure it out.
Okay, great.
I'm, like, sweating.
I know, it's hot.
It's great.
It's summertime, but at least we're used to hot yoga.
I am. I'm used to hot yoga. All right, so my friends that are listening and watching, and just get comfortable. Just find a cozy place to be. And if you want to close the eyes, that's fine, or just gaze off the tip of the nose, whatever feels safest and most comfortable for you. And then just start to arrive in your body. And just feel that you have a body. Find gratitude for it. Thanking this vessel for carrying us around on this planet, for allowing us to do the things we want to do, experience the things we want to experience. And then just notice your breath. And we're just noticing. We're not changing, we're not manipulating, we're not judging. We're just watching. Like we mentioned earlier, you're the gatekeeper. So you're just watching the breath come in. And you're watching the breath go out. Continue to watch the breath come in. And watch the breath go out. Same with your thoughts. Just watch them come in. And watch them leave. No need to attach. Stay as the gatekeeper. You can even notice in your nose when the breath comes in. You feel that slight coolness as the breath comes in the nose. And then you notice when you breathe out that coolness, or maybe it's warmth that comes out the nose. So just focus there, or you can focus on the solar plexus, the belly, as the breath comes in and out there. Okay, and just feel a little expansion in the breath, in the collarbones, the heart space. And I want you to start to just feel all the good things that are in your life right now. What do they feel like? What does the good feel like in your body? What is the resonance? And just notice it, just feel it. Keep feeling the goodness that's coming in. And then tell yourself, I'm focusing on the good, and the good gets better. It's really the energy right now of this beautiful moon showing you that goodness. Multiplying that goodness, it just gets better. Any intentions that come through, let your intuition guide you through this. What do you need right now? What are you trying limitations to fade away with ease and grace. Come back to the beauty of the flow of your breath, the heartbeat. These last few moments, on every exhale, just let go. Let go of what doesn't align. Let go of what doesn't serve. Let go of what's been trying to hang on, that you know it's just time to let it go. So as you exhale, let it leave out your feet. Let it go down into the earth to be recycled. And feel that beautiful energy coming in from the crown of the head, from source, filling you up with all those beautiful things, that worth, that deservingness that is inherently yours. You are pure love. Whatever color perhaps you start to see swirling within the body. I see pink. Just allow it to swirl through every cell of your being. Let it to come out your skin into your auric fields, to surround you like a beautiful orb of gold, white light, protection, of love, connection. And then just take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Beautiful, in through the nose, out the mouth. This one we'll hold at the top, in through the nose. And just hold. Soften the face, soften the shoulders. Pull up through the pelvic floor, slightly draw the belly to the spine. Just feel strong, straight spine. Soften, soften. Take a little sip in. And slow release. Beautiful. Breathe naturally. Just take a moment to reorient yourself with the space. We end in gratitude, just thinking about the things that you're most grateful for in your life right now. And then when you're ready, just blinking the eyes open softly, coming back into the room. Hi.
Wow, that was nice.
Hi. I should have had you lay down over there.
I know, right? Thanks, Stacey.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
That was fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do a follow-up and hear more about
sure you'll have questions.
What you're doing.
For sure.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks for flying with us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Ding.
Hi guys, it's me, Katie. Thank you so much for listening. I am so excited to announce that I am launching Fly Free Bird one-on-one coaching, designed to help you break free, rediscover joy, and simplify your life so you can live more authentically. If you're feeling the pull, I'd love to connect. DM me on Instagram at flyfreebirdpodcast or email me at flyfreebirdpodcast@gmail.com for more information. Make it a beautiful day, keep shining your light, and let's fly.